Oh, let's see here. Let me get my shared screen. All right, what's going on? So let's see what's happening. Let's see, here is the holidays that we have right here. March 26th is the next holiday that is the in-service. And then you have spring break. So those are the holidays. Scholarships, LADOMs, that is for women. So any ladies out there that would like to get or try to get a scholarship, LADOMs does a scholarship. And we've had a few scholarship winners through LADOM's Escoffier. So if you would like to apply, the link is right here. Do you have a new phone number or address? Please make sure you give that to the school. Here are some local places for like assistance, like COVID testing, food assistance, mental health, rent, utility, and flu shots. Excuse me. Let's see. If you need any help, mental health issues, or anything that you need to talk to someone, you're having some problems, you're thinking bad thoughts, or you know of someone that has are having a lot of issues, please make sure you talk to them, whatever else. If you have had any losses from COVID, if you have any financial aid questions or any money questions, please call Mary Reardon or email Mary Reardon. She is the person in charge. If you're having any problems with email or the portal or the dashboard, whatever you want to call it, you can always call the Zendesk. Again, follow 6 feet apart, keep that distance, wear a mask, scrub your hands, all of that. Half a cup of Clorox to a gallon of water. These people can help you find a job or an externship. If you need, these people will help you out, and Eric and Jamal. Let's see, here's a couple of featured employees or employers. They're looking for job, somebody to work. Let's see, a bakery right here. Has anybody been to this one? Hank? Anybody ever been there? Okay. Got a couple of bakery places, so if you'd like to, that'd be good for y'all. Let's see, a few other one. Poke, barbecue place. All right. People are looking for job quote of the week. Wow. That's a nice quote. Just for fun. Let's see, look at this. Aha, you got to start eating out of a different parking lot. Get it? McDonald's. Haha, funny. All right. Let's see here. Let's let's see. Here's the culinary. What do we think? Anybody? Anybody? Bueller. 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5? Betty Crocker. All right. Hey, who is it? Victoria, I see your message. That's fine. Thank you.
Thank you, Chef. Thank you, Chef.
Yeah, of course. Alrighty. So let me talk about what we're doing today. I only saw maybe only have maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 people, 4 or 5 people that sent me what I ask for, and that's the standardized recipes. I let's see. Hold on, let me get to one. Am I sharing my screen? No, I'm not. Hold on, share. All right, let's see. All right, so here is one right here. I love it. If you did not send me a standardized recipe for marinara or tartar sauce, I need that sent to me. Okay. And if you do not get it done by the end of the day, it will. I will start taking points off starting by the end of the day. Okay, so please try to get that turned in to me. And if you were not here or you did not see it, here is where it is going to be living, that document. What is that? That was week 3. Day 14, week 3, day 14. You click on day 14. It is right there. The spreadsheet is right here. You just need to make a copy for yourself and send that to me, because this is the same spreadsheet you're going to use. You're going to use the same spreadsheet to put your 9 recipes that you are going to pick. You're going to create your 9 recipes that is on that same spreadsheet. And I'll explain it in a little while, but that is where it's going to be living. So please make sure you get it done. Find my PowerPoint. Day 15 PowerPoint. Standard operating procedures. Okay, and guys, tomorrow I'm going to be having to leave a little early if you don't remember, for my COVID vaccination. So just to kind of give you a heads up, that is what. So I'm going to be kind of pushing through pretty hard tomorrow, trying to get whatever I need to done, so where I can head out. So do you? Sorry, hold on a sec. All right, so let's see, restaurant operation, day 6, standard operating procedures. Kind of a recap for yesterday or on, what was it, Friday, standard, or wait, menu design. We did menu design, or talked about menu design last week. And we're going to be talking about standardized recipes and why standardized recipes are so important, in standard operating procedures as well. Let's see what this video is going to be.
On restaurantowner.com, our most successful members, operators who have built restaurants that have been highly successful for many years and even On restaurantowner.com, our most successful members, operators who have built restaurants that have been highly successful for many years and even decades, have a very common set of skills. Virtually all of them are good business managers, they've implemented effective operating systems, and their restaurants have strong, positive cultures. So why is competency in business systems and cultures so important? Success in the restaurant business begins first and foremost with creating a great guest experience. The combination of concept, food, atmosphere, and service style that appeals to a sufficient number of people in a local market. Accomplish that, and a restaurant will likely attract a lot of customers and have the potential to become a good restaurant. But creating a good restaurant is just step one. Then the restaurant owner must turn their good or busy restaurant into a successful business. And that requires an entirely different set of skills and abilities. Good restaurants are usually started by creative, risk-taking entrepreneurs. Great restaurant businesses, on the other hand, are built by entrepreneurs that are also very competent in the areas of business management, systems, and culture. Because if the owner can't turn their good restaurant into a successful business, no matter how busy, the restaurant won't be very profitable, it won't grow, and it will struggle financially. Here's how skills in business, systems, and culture support sustainable restaurant success. If we look at a restaurant P&L, it begins with sales. The greatest driver of sales in a restaurant is the guest experience. The better the guest experience, the more loyal repeat customers and sales a restaurant is likely to generate. What's the most important part of the guest experience? Now you might say the food, the service, the atmosphere, the location. Now sure, all these elements are important, but we believe the most important part of the guest experience is consistency. Because even if a restaurant has world-class recipes and buys the finest ingredients, if they can't create a high-quality guest experience consistently over and over again, they won't build loyalty and repeat business. So how does a restaurant create consistent, repeatable guest experiences? Two things: good people and effective systems. Systems are things like standard recipes and checklists and forms, procedures, and tools to ensure that the restrooms are always clean, the staff is thoroughly trained, and the food comes out the same way regardless of who's in the...
Guys, the restrooms, those things need to be cleaned all the time. They cannot smell like piss. They cannot smell, bad. People want a clean bathroom, especially when they go into a restaurant. No one wants a dirty bathroom.
The kitchen. While systems are essential in creating consistent guest experiences, a restaurant must also have a capable staff of people who will actually use those systems every day, every time. So what determines whether the employees, the staff, are actually going to use the systems, work well as a team, and take great care of their guests? Culture. Culture is how your people think and act when they're on the job, and your restaurant's unique culture drives the thinking, attitudes, and behaviors of your people. Culture is about the quality of the restaurant's working environment, how much people like their jobs, how meaningful they view their work, whether they feel appreciated or not. In strong, positive cultures, employees do their best, they genuinely care about their coworkers and customers, and they use the systems. But in the restaurant business, even a strong culture, effective systems, and lots of sales doesn't guarantee financial success. Because there are thousands of ways to lose money in the restaurant business, there are some very busy, good restaurants with very impressive sales volumes that don't make nearly as much profit as they could, and in fact, some even lose money. Going back to the P&L, that's where business systems come in. Business skills are needed to control food cost, manage inventory, analyze financial statements, control cash, manage labor, and make sound business decisions. In addition, smart marketing, another business skill, can also help a restaurant attract new customers and drive repeat business. Strong sales, competent business management, and effective cost controls provide the opportunity to maximize restaurant profitability and build a financially successful, growing business. I know we've covered a lot of ground, so let me quickly summarize. What determines restaurant results? First, what drives sales? The guest experience. And what drives and sustains the guest experience? A competent, caring staff and effective systems. What drives the attitudes, behaviors, and performance of the staff? The culture. But a great guest experience, lots of customers, and sales doesn't automatically translate into profit and business success. A restaurant must also manage their costs and expenses and make smart business decisions. That's where business skills come in. When a restaurant entrepreneur creates a good restaurant and has the leadership ability to create a strong culture and implement effective systems, along with competent business skills, that's when sustainable restaurant success begins to happen. That's when being in the restaurant business becomes genuinely fun and rewarding on multiple levels. When you have happy employees, creating happy, loyal customers, and you're making a healthy profit, and you're able to provide more opportunities for not only yourself, but your people as well. That's why our focus on restaurantowner.com is to build our members' skills in these three key areas, because they are the core competencies that every restaurant owner and management team must have to achieve and then sustain profitability and success. When you and your managers build your skills in business, systems, and culture, you'll begin to see your restaurant differently. It will become obvious what needs to improve, and you'll have the confidence and abilities to make changes and achieve better results. If you really want to have a better restaurant and business, improve your understanding of business, systems, and culture. Whether it's through restaurantowner.com or some other way, dedicate yourself to growing in these three key areas. They really are the foundation of improving your results and creating the level of success you know you want to achieve.
All right. I think that was a great introduction, just talking about systems and making sure that you have systems in place. You're, you know, that's so important, standardized recipes, and talking about happy employees create a good work environment, and that in turn makes our customers happy and satisfied. So anyway, that is something very important. Three systems in the food and beverage operation: arriving, leaving, customer process, when they get there, what happens when they get there and what happens when they leave, in the process in between arriving and leaving, right? You want their arrival good. You don't want them to have problems parking or whatever else. And then once they get there, the stuff in the middle, the food, the service, you name it, and then the leaving process. Purchasing the food and then cleaning, after it. Preparation for service and cleaning and going through everything. So all of these, there are processes, there's things that need to happen. For food, purchasing. So the food, basically how the food kind of goes in, we order it, right? We call them and we get on the internet, whatever else, we purchase it. And then we are gonna get it, so we're storing it. We issue it to whoever is gonna be cooking it. And then they cook it and prepare it, and then they preparing for service. They serve the food, consuming they consume the food and then clean up after consumption. So that is kind of the process that it goes through. Now there are actual step-by-step things on how to purchase, how to store, how to issue. So there are operating procedures on all of these levels in all of these sections. And that's kind of what we're going to be talking about, food and beverage control. Define, do I have my reader there today? Oh yeah, do you mind reading this one real quick?
Definition of control. Control is a process by which a manager attempts to direct, regulate, and restrain the action of people in order to achieve the desired goal. An obvious first step is to establish goals for the enterprise. Probably the most common goal for all private enterprise is financial success. Although this is by no means the only range goal of business, others might relate to preserving the environment, promoting better health among the population, or etc.
Thank you. And do you mind finishing up the last little bit?
Yes. To achieve the goals, management must set up any number of sub-goals compatible with the long-range plans. These tend to be more specific and usually more immediate in nature. For example, to achieve the goal of preserving the environment, it would be necessary to make rather immediate plans to process or dispose of waste materials in appropriate ways.
Thank you. All right, so they're talking about, and what we're really kind of going into is just step-by-step processes on how to control things in your situation, or in your business, or in your restaurant, or in your whatever else. Just controlling. Again, like I said on day one, all chefs are in this industry. You become a control freak. You have to have things in control, because if not, you're going to lose your business, right? You're gonna, if you don't control your waste, what's going to happen? You're going to be throwing away a lot more stuff, and then that in turn is going to cause you to lose your shirt, or to not have as much profit, or have a lot more loss. Excuse me. Now, objective for food and beverage control. The mini, basically what we're going to, and here we go. Okay, for food and beverage control system, step one is purchasing. Okay, we need to purchase the food. We need to develop a procedure in specifications for what we want to purchase. Okay, like for example, I think I talked about the strawberry. I would, my purchasing procedure would be, I would take pictures of a good strawberry and take a picture of a bad strawberry and say, okay, this is what a good strawberry should look like. This is what we should accept, right? And this is what we should not accept. So having specifications, what your specific things you want to purchase, because no matter what, there are different things, and you need to be very specific on certain items when you are ordering food. I mean, here's a good example of someone screwing up an order. They didn't, let's say, just whatever the chef's specifications are, if those are whatever the businesses of the specifications, if they wanted fresh fish instead of frozen, they need to make sure it's specifically written down fresh fish, not frozen or whatever else. So when someone is ordering these things, those specifications are written down, are there, so you can make sure you get the product. Suppliers, like selection. What suppliers do you want? Purchasing the correct quantities. Do you need a case? Do you need a half case? Do you need 15 of them? Do you need 100 of them? What is it? Let's see. I like evaluation of the purchasing process. Do you want to evaluate the way you process things? You want to make sure that you're ordering the right thing. For example, someone was ordering ketchup and they thought they were ordering ketchup. Well, they wanted the bigger containers of ketchup, right? Well, they accidentally ordered the wrong specification and got the little ketchup packets and got 1,000 ketchup packets. Well, we didn't need 1,000 ketchup packets. We needed ketchup kind of in a tube or whatever else. So making sure you're purchasing the correct amount and the correct sizing and everything else. Now, receiving, you want to develop a receiving plan. When you receive that product in, you want to make sure you have a procedure in place. You want to make sure that your employees check everything. Check the bottoms of open up the strawberries, look at the strawberries, make sure that those strawberries are the specifications that I want, right? If they're not the specifications I want, I need to send them back. I don't want them, right? So I want to make sure that my specs, whatever I ordered, is the correct thing, and that it is stored properly, and that it is taken care of properly, meaning is the temperature correct, right? Is that fish frozen or fresh? I need to make sure that if it is frozen, I need to make sure it is frozen. If frozen, should be at 0 degrees or basically over 0 degrees, right? Or below 0 degrees, because if it gets above anything that's above 0, then it's not frozen, it's freezing. It's the water molecules or moisture in that product is not frozen. So you need to make sure it's frozen, or if it's fresh, make sure it's packed in ice and it's at, as cool as possible. It is packaged properly, or whatever else. When you receive it, your flour bag, and this is what's very common, and y'all will see this because y'all are a lot of pastry people. But like your bags of flour or bags of sugar or any kind of bagged items sometimes gets wet or torn or whatever else, and you need to make sure that what was that moisture? What was it? Chicken juice? Was it rainwater? Was it what was the reason why? What's the moisture on it? Or making sure that it's the proper, it's the high gluten flour instead of the pastry flour, or whatever else, making sure that your specs are correct. Because no matter what, the minute you sign for that product, it is your product, right? And if it's the wrong product, it's going to financially hurt you, right? Or that fish is not the best quality, or whatever else. And maybe it's old fish, so you need to, it'll go bad faster, so you're going to lose money. So making sure you receive it properly, and whoever did the purchasing, from this purchasing portion, you need a list of what they purchased, because if you don't have a list of what they purchased, when you receive your product, you get, they could be giving you the wrong thing. If you don't have your list, like your grocery list, you don't know what you're supposed to be receiving. So make sure that your grocery list, or the list that the purchaser was ordering, it matches up with what you're receiving into the door, because of I mean, they'll accidentally give you certain things or whatever else, or give you the wrong thing. So make sure that, you check on that. Storing, making sure it's stored correctly, effectively using the, a physical kind of system on storing, making sure everything, well, first of all, okay, so you purchase it, right? You receive it in the door, it comes to your door. A lot of times when you receive it, people get busy or whatever else, and they don't put it away fast enough. What if it's refrigerated stuff or frozen stuff? You need to get it in the freezer or in the cooler as fast as possible, because again, we are in a time temperature controlled, controlling, we need to control that time and temperature, because if that temperature, if it gets too hot, or usually too hot, it'll start going bad. The product will go bad. Well, or if it was frozen, if it's not put in the freezer fast enough, it could start to melt or start to thaw out. And when things start to thaw out a little bit, that causes and then I freeze it, and that causes the freezer burn. So making sure you don't get things freezer burn, because that will shorten your life as well, and it adds a kind of a not so good flavor because of the freezer burn. Let's see, controlling the product quality, making sure that you put it away. If you don't put it away fast enough, it will go bad. Like celery or whatever else. If you let it sit out a long time and then you put it up, and it gets all floppy and not so nice. Also, if it's sitting around out in the open, it could be easily 5-finger discounted. Someone could just kind of grab it and take it, or grab it and eat it, or whatever else. So that's kind of one of those things where this kind of happens. You'll see it occasionally. Someone will just not put it away, and people start to graze on it, or eat it, or take it, or utilize it, and it's not supposed to be for that one person. It should be for a different person. So making sure you store it properly. And I know in sanitation class, y'all talked about, proper storage, making sure things get, if it's in a reach-in cooler, any dairy or anything like that needs to be in the very back. Anything perishable needs to be in the very back of the cooler, because the minute you open the cooler door, right? Y'all have been on campus, right? Y'all have been on campus. So you've been in the, y'all are in the pastry room. So you've got those reach-in coolers, right? You open up that double reach-in cooler, right? And whatever is closest to the door is going to get the hottest, right? So making sure that you push those things in the back, that the milk and the things that could go bad, your strawberries, just think about, if you have strawberries right up front, and they open and close, and it gets hot and cold, that's where you get a lot of molding coming from, molds, because of because of that opening and closing, and the mold spores are in the air anyway. So it affects that. So making sure that your strawberries don't go bad as fast. And plus, strawberries, when they get warm, they get kind of mushy and not so nice. And also making sure you're storing it properly. You're not putting what I call ready to eat, or RTE, ready to eat foods on the bottom, and then put the raw stuff on the top. So making sure you store it properly, because sometimes you get a lot of waste, or I have to throw away a lot of stuff because something oozed down into something else because they didn't uh, put it, you know, on the shelf properly, or what have you. And that's more in my side, more the non-pastry side. Like, you know, somebody in my class will cut up a piece of chicken, put it on the very top rack in my cooler, and you know, kitchen K3 or something, and all of the stuff kind of oozes down, and then I lose everything, so I have to throw everything away because chicken juice got everywhere. So making sure you store it properly, and it's in the proper cool, you know, cooler, the proper freezer, wherever else. Let me check the time. Okay. Making for issuing, there's a procedure for issuing product. I honestly, guys, if you ever own your own restaurant, or you run your own restaurant, or you're the executive chef or the pastry chef, executive pastry chef, whatever it is, I would suggest you never let anybody into that storeroom without, have only one specific person to get the product out of the storeroom and give it to you. Because if you have multiple hands in that storeroom, if you have too many people going into that storeroom, you have too many people, too many opportunities for things to come out missing, are taken, when it's not theirs. John, have y'all ever met Chef Raff? Chef Rafferty, heavy set guy, works kind of in the storeroom. Well, I know, like, a good example is, you know, like, you need to make sure that, you know, he he's in the storeroom now, and he tries to prevent anybody to come in there, because as a chef, I will go, oh, I want this. Why don't I have some of this and this? You know, because I'm kind of more fruit. You know, we're when we're cooking in a kitchen, you know, we want the best for, you know, and get the product, and we might want a little extra of this, or you say, hey chef, can I get a little extra of this, or that, you know, and we'll go grab it. But the problem is that recipe, whatever, if, you know, the recipes that we're uh, doing, it's costed out for this certain thing. So I might be taking it from, let's say my regular class is, I don't know, wanting to make a fruit salad, and there's no fruit salad on my, or the fruit is for the pastry class. If I take that fruit from the pastry class, then whoever the pastry class is out of that fruit. So making sure when I issue it to the right people, to the right thing, and what they need. Never issue more than what they need, because again, everything is money, right? You know, whatever we have in that storeroom, that is all equates to money. So if we utilize it and we're not getting anything in return, like money or whatever else, then we're losing money. So making sure that you know, and we do, when we're issuing it, we do the FIFO, first in, first out. Make sure we rotate it properly, because again, that could turn into an issue. Product, rotation, matching, like usage, making sure we total utilize certain items, and if we don't utilize it, you know, make sure you return it to the storeroom, or return it and put it in the freezer properly, or it's used properly. And if you have extra, go put it away, right? You don't want to let it sitting out for a long period of time. So that's pre-preparation, like, so, okay, so here we go. So we've received it, we stored it, we issued it, now it's issued, and and now we're going to be doing preparation. So that person's doing the mise en place, cutting up the strawberry, minimizing the food waste, making sure we're not cutting the big chunk of the meat of the strawberry off. We're just taking the little stem off, right? So you can even get a stemmer and you can, take the stem off or cut it, but minimizing the waste and maximizing the product, right? And making sure we retention, we're retaining the main product, and or let's say if we're, let's say fabricating or cutting up a piece of fish, making sure we don't cut into the meat of it, and making sure we just take instead of like leaving a bunch of meat on the carcass, make sure that we fabricate it properly so there's no waste. Again, anytime there's waste in food or we throw it in the garbage, anytime we put it into the main garbage can and it goes out to the street or to our dumpster, we're losing money no matter what. If you can find a way to use that food for anything, hell, even the vegetable scraps, just keep it, and you can make a true vegetarian stock, like a vegetable stock. So just trying to utilize everything, because no matter what, you paid for whatever you're throwing away, you paid for it. So you need to make sure you minimize your waste. Hell, even some scraps that you couldn't use could be in for composting, and if you because I still have to pay. I pay for the garbage pickup, right? So I have to pay for as much whatever garbage I throw away. I got to pay for someone to pick it up and take it away, right? So whatever I'm throwing away, I want to make sure that I want to utilize anything before I throw it in the garbage. Just plain and simple. So minimizing your waste, maximizing everything, all right. Step 6 is preparation, using a standardized recipe. Why do we do that? Because a standardized recipe makes it so where it's A, standard, and B, things are going to be consistent, right? Standardized recipe equals consistency, plain and simple. Use portion control. That's the spoodles, the ice cream scoops of different sizes, the ladles, you name it, anything, a cup, you name it, whatever, anything that could make sure you get the same portion every single time. Because again, you are figuring out, you're wanting to make sure that everything, if you give someone an ounce more of a product, you're losing an ounce worth of that money, whatever it is. Whatever, if it costs 5 cents, that extra ounce that you're getting someone, that's 5 cents of extra you're losing. You're not getting that 5 cents extra. So you're losing 5 cents. So make sure that doesn't happen. Make sure you control that portion. And again, let's say like, and I'm going to be talking about steaks, but if I had someone cutting steaks and I wanted 6-ounce steaks, and whoever was cutting it, they cut an 8-ounce steak, and then a 7-ounce steak, and then a 6-ounce steak, and all of that. So it's not being consistent. So, but I costed out that recipe for a 7-ounce or a 6-ounce steak or whatever size. Anytime I'm not getting that, I'm losing money, plain and simple. So no one wants to lose money. So you always want to make sure you use some sort of measuring. And if your person is not good at, or if you don't have anybody that can cut steaks properly, buy steaks already pre-portioned, pre-cut. It might cost you just a touch more money, but it might save you in the long run because your staff might not be, you might not have skilled enough staff for someone to knock out, the exact same size of a steak every single time. Well, then I'm going to just buy a cryovac, a pre-cut steak that's already 6 ounces each, consistent. It's going to cost you more, but in the long run it might save you money, or it will save you money. So in making sure that when they're prepping it, they're prepping the right amount of product, and that's why the standardized recipe is so important, because if they're prepping too much, right, then there's going to be a lot more waste, and maybe they're just going in, and we aren't going to utilize it, so it's going to be thrown away. So you need to make sure it's controlled. Now, serving, step 7 is serving. Timing, for sure, on this is so important, of including the food and beverage order. Okay. But making sure that things are served properly in the timing manner. Make sure that, because again, if it's not served properly at the proper time, it's going to get cold, then we got to remake it, and then we're losing money again. Making sure, again, I can't stress this enough: portion control. You've got to control your portions. You just can't haphazardly. Hell, even French fries. Everybody probably has different size hands, and I was at a restaurant once where grabbing the French fry, you would just grab it by your hands and put it on the plate. Well, or gloved hands, of course, but it was they would grab it. Well, everybody had different size hands, so whoever was doing that station, they were just putting a handful of French fries. Well, that handful of French fries, I don't know how much that was. So, we were going through a lot more French fries than normal. So, you need to make sure that maybe instead of a hand, like how McDonald's does it, they have their little large container, and they just kind of scoop it up, and it fits that large container. Well, if that's what you're gonna, if that's how it's gonna happen, or if you get a cup or you get something, whatever it is, you need to control that, because if not, you're going to again lose your business, lose money, and that little bit of money adds up. I mean, it really does add up. It's amazing how much much those little things add up. Those little things add up a lot. Making sure, step 8, service. Making sure you serving alcohol beverages responsibly. For example, making sure you're make sure that you're pouring it properly, right? Because if you don't serve it, if you over pour, you give them too much, Again, even if you give them too little, maybe someone might taste that, could taste that there's not much alcohol in there or whatever else. That could be a negative thing as well. You're not going to lose money on when you serve it, but you might lose money on that the drink didn't taste good and they've got to remake it. And especially now during COVID times, no matter what, nothing goes back in the kitchen. I will not ever have anything sent back into the kitchen to be recooked or redone or to the bar, especially during COVID, because you don't want anything that's been, anybody that someone has touched from the table. You don't want that back in the kitchen, for sure not, or at the bar, and no matter what. All those things go straight to the garbage, and you lose more money. So making sure you're serving things properly. Cleanliness, service, making sure that things are clean. That's a procedure in itself. Making sure that that the facility's clean, the bathrooms are clean, you name it. The dishes are clean. Serving the food, making sure that you might have a food runner, you might have a all different, these servers need to make sure that the sanitation and the cleanliness stays there. And after this video,
Going to be what they purchased. In this case, $14,000 for a food cost of 28%.
Hold on. After this video, we'll take a break.
My son was on the boxing team in high school. He had to control his weight so he could qualify to compete within a certain weight class. What do you think became one of the most important parts of his training routine? It was one word: measurement. Multiple times a week, he would jump on a scale to measure his weight. When it comes to managing or controlling anything, whether it's your weight, your driving speed, or your restaurant's food costs, step one should always involve some type of measurement. If you don't measure it, you can't manage it. Ongoing measurement can tell you if the condition is getting better or it's getting worse. It tells you if you're making progress or if you need to change course and try something new. In short, measurement gives you information to know where you stand and make better decisions going forward. If you don't measure it, you're basically lost. When it comes to controlling food costs, we know that restaurants that do it well all have one thing in common. They measure or they calculate their food costs frequently, more than just once a month on their P&L. They do it at the end of each week, most of them on a weekly prime cost report. And many of them also measure and track the usage of their key products every single day. In addition to frequent measurement, effective food cost control depends on accurate measurement. Just as using an accurate scale to prepare for a boxing match could get you into trouble, it's the same thing with trying to control your food cost. You've got to get an accurate food cost number to effectively control it. Step one in getting an accurate food cost is making sure that all food products purchased during the period are charged to the food cost account. This means that all food and non-alcoholic beverage purchases are charged to food cost, unless your restaurant has a separate non-alcoholic beverage account. Then you would code things like syrup and coffee, tea, CO2, and similar beverage products to a non-alcoholic or soft beverage account. So, all food products purchased from food vendors, grocery stores, wholesale clubs, whether paid by cash or on account, that have been physically received in the restaurant during the reporting period should be charged or included in your food cost account. Next, it's also necessary to accurately account for the value of the food inventory remaining on the shelves at the beginning and also at the end of the period. Here's why. Let's say a restaurant purchases $14,000 of food during the month. If they don't calculate the cost of the food remaining on the shelves, the food cost on the P&L is going to be what they purchased, in this case $14,000 for a food cost of 28%. Now let's assume that the restaurant starts the month with $10,000 of food on the shelf, and at the end of the month has $6,000 worth of product on the shelves. So the actual cost of the food used during the period, the month, is really $18,000 or 36%, not 28%. Now, I admit I may have exaggerated the beginning and ending inventory amounts in this case just a bit, but I wanted to make a point. Here's the reality though. Your beginning and ending inventory values will never, ever be exactly the same. And if you skip this step and base your food cost on purchases alone, your food cost will always be wrong to some degree. Now, it will be inaccurate or wrong by the amount of the difference in the value of your beginning inventory and your ending inventory. And this may be the most important point. When you ignore inventory levels, it gives your chef or your kitchen manager a very convenient built-in excuse for why food costs may be higher than normal. I can virtually guarantee that any spike in food costs will cause a chef or the KM to explain it away as, oh, it's probably just an inventory issue. Just wait, it will correct itself next month. So if there actually is an issue with theft or overportioning or a host of other expensive food cost problems, those problems will very likely just continue. If you really want to control your food and beverage costs and hold your people accountable, you've got to work with accurate numbers. And to do that requires counting every single food or beverage product on the shelf and accurately calculating the inventory value at the end of every period. If you're concerned about spending a lot of time counting products, here are some ways to become more efficient. First, have your count sheets arranged by shelf order and have a team of 3 people, 1 with the count sheet and 2 to physically count products on the shelf. Also consider having multiple counting teams. When I was a manager, we had separate count sheets for each storage area. So we used 3 teams, 1 for the walk-in, another for the freezer, and a third for the dry storage areas. It usually took each team less than 30 minutes to do a complete 100% physical count. We have a lot of very practical resources on restaurantowner.com to help you and your team control and measure your food costs frequently and accurately. There are a variety of how-to articles and templates, some of which are listed on the page below. For more, just go to the resource library and do a search on the term food cost. Measuring and controlling your food costs better isn't hard, and it's one of the most effective ways to improve your profitability quickly, especially if you're not measuring your food costs frequently and accurately now. Good luck, and let us know if you have any questions on the discussion forum.
All right. On that note, let's take let's do a, let me see how many more slides we have. Don't want to take 15? Okay, so let's say, I don't see it. What would be 15 minutes from now? I don't even know what time it is. All right, so let's say it's 8:10, so 15 minutes from 8:10. So 15 minutes from now. Cool. See y'all in 15 minutes.
Yes.
All right.
King himself called what he did infotainment, never claimed to be a journalist.
My number one motto, I never learned anything when I was talking.
Often bragging he almost never prepared for an interview or read the books his guests were promoting.
I was the number one show on television, Larry. You know who I am? I like knowing a little bit and then being truth. And that works for me. What I worry about is where I think I know too much. The day I go into a studio saying I've asked all the questions and I've heard all the answers is the day I gotta quit.
King was married 8 times to 7 women.
I never thought this is strange. In fact, I used to think if people were married for a long time, they were strange.
The Dalai Lama weighed in on his love life in this interview.
She looks much younger. Well, she's much younger, yes. Oh, looks like your daughter.
The suspenders, the stance, the interview style.
I'm not going to tell you the truth. That's how I tell the truth. It was the movie star. Yeah.
Was often imitated.
You own a jacket? What?
Do you ever own a jacket?
I own a jacket. Yeah, but I just like this look.
I'm just curious. Though never duplicated. By all accounts, dedicated. Joyce Craft.
Today, Mr. Larry King, who's always trending. The host of 2 online programs, Larry King Now and Politicking with Larry King. Not 1 but 2 shows. You gotta slow down.
I can't slow down. I've got a problem, though. I have nothing to do on the weekend. I look at the weekend today.
More than 60 years and 60,000 hours of TV later, will go down in history as an icon, as big as any of his guests. For all of his professional accomplishments, Larry King said he most wanted to be remembered as a good father. During his life, he thought a lot about death and said he wanted to see it all before he died. They certainly got closer than most. Back to you guys.
Boy, nice walking down memory lane,
Yeah.
seeing how many times Larry was with him. He could have done a 3-hour segment on Larry and all the people he interviewed. Yeah, he
I'll think
influenced.
about the people, at Nate Now, the diner in Beverly Hills, that Larry went to 7 days a week between 7:45 and 15. He was a fixture at this diner for 40 years. They say he bought his house in Beverly Hills because it was walking distance. He was so much of a fixture. My wife was out there once, and she went in that diner and they're there with his friends. What? And she went up to him and said, "Hey, Larry, big fan. Would you mind doing an interview with me?" I was like, "Yeah, fine, sure." And she went and got a crew and sat and did an interview.
He influenced so many people. He even influenced our executive producer, Tom Mazzarella. Tom posted this picture, first job in TV with Larry King, gave him a start. So we're just grateful for Larry King for yet another reason. We are. Larry had an eye for talent.
How about a check of that Monday weather, Mr. You have to be on the show a couple of times. You are. Yeah. Going over to the CNN studio, too.
Do you know who you were?
No idea. Hot guy, right? Anyway, let's show you what we've got for today. Sunshine here in the Northeast, but a big storm getting itself together in the Midwest. We're looking at snow and ice stretching from the plains into the Northeast by tomorrow. Out west, we're looking at a heavy snowstorm bringing lots of snow and rain along the west coast as well. That's what's going on around the country. Here's what's happening in your neck of the woods.
Good morning. Rain is moving out of the area from west to east, and after a few showers wrap in our eastern communities by 9 a.m., that's it. Maybe getting back out to the trail with warm, breezy sunshine today, 77, and really much nicer weather continues through all week compared to last week when we were largely gray and damp. Tomorrow, another warm day after a chillier night tonight. A winter cold front brings back a typical chill Wednesday and Thursday, but not much rain in sight through a lovely coming weekend.
That is your latest with Frank Carson, Popstar O'Clock. Lots on Popstar today. We're going to start with Jennifer Lopez, who is celebrating a milestone. Believe it or not, it has been 20 years since her second album, J-Lo, made its debut. It featured her hit song, Love Don't Cost a Thing, which, of course, went on to become one of her most recognizable songs, peaking at number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100. version of that name. But congrats to our friend J-Lo. Next up, the showbiz seems to be talking about certainly around here during the commercial break. Bridgerton, the hit Netflix show about a powerful family in 1800s England. It's just the latest one to fall victim to an on-screen blunder that includes something from the modern day. Now, we've done this before. We saw the jeans guy in The Mandalorian. That was a crew member caught in the background of that frame. We also remember the infamous coffee cup. That was from Game of Thrones. Well, Bridgerton's mistake isn't as bad as the coffee cup, but once you see it, you can't really unsee it. Fans posting out a yellow street parking line in the first episode, and according to UK newspapers, those weren't around until about 1947. So maybe it's a carriage parking. Yeah. We're not exactly sure. Next up, what a great way to celebrate your Monday morning. We're going to catch up on, how about these two monsters going head to head? Let me see if anybody's interested in this. I know Al is. Yes. First trailer for Godzilla versus Kong hit the web, and it does not disappoint. The setup, Godzilla's going a bit haywire, so King Kong is brought in to take him on.
All right. I think it's just about that time. All right, so food purchasing control. All right, so responsibility for purchasing, the making sure that that person is responsible for, like the purchasing director. The responsibility of purchasing is on this one person, and they've got to make sure that they're the manager puts in, I would say, puts in specific guidelines of what needs to be purchased, and that's kind of what we're going to be going over right now. Controlling processes and purchasing. 4 steps in the controlling process applied are here. Do you mind, Narda, do you mind reading this?
Yes.
Not even
4 steps
sorry.
in, no, it's okay. 4 steps in the control process apply here, requiring that standards and standard procedures be established, that employees be trained to follow these standards and standard procedures, that employees' output be monitored and compared to established standards, remedial action be taken as needed.
Yep, thank you. All right, so requiring standards and making sure that those standards are held up to a T. And let me see, there should be, there's here, these are kind of the standards, and I'll get to it. Hold on, let me just kind of, just went way too far. So making sure those standards and those standards are held up, and you make sure that you follow those standards. And again, I'm repeating. We're standards, right? So we want standardization in general on anything we do, because if it's standardized, then it's going to be constant. We're going to have the same constant output if everything is standardized, right? Standardized products, so we'll have quality product that we're purchasing. We're going to have, and then that quality product's going to go out and it's going to be a quality product to the customer. So where, those standards have to be held and all of that, and when we're talking about purchasing, it could be the quality of food, it could be the pricing, it could be, any sort of things that I want to standardize. So developing standards of purchasing. Okay, here are some of the ways. I mean, and if you can look, and I'm gonna have to get close to the thing, but here are some standards. Here's strawberries. What they should have, how they should be packed, how they should be stored. All of these things. This is an example, but I would put a picture. Because again, pictures speak louder than words from what I feel like, and you don't even need to know the language. You can put a strawberry, picture of the strawberry that you would accept, and that is your standards. So these are standards here. You're creating these standards and specific specs for your individuals that are purchasing the food. Why do we do that? Because you have to have standards, right? You don't want a crappy strawberry. So if you don't explain to your employees what a crappy strawberry is, and if you're not there all the time, and they need to know what a crappy strawberry is, or they need to know what your specifications are, and you're not there, they can look at the spec sheet, and they should look at that when they order it, or they should eventually know it by heart. But again, these spec sheets help them determine what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. Let's use a piece of fish, for example. Maybe one of my specs on there should not smell like rotten, or should not smell like fish. Well, when it comes in and it smells really strong of fish, well, maybe it should smell like sweet, like the ocean, but it shouldn't have a pungent fish aroma. Well, that tells me it's maybe a older fish. So I would make sure that, this is not what I want, send it back. So those specifics and those specs need to be on there. If not, your employees are going to just accept anything, accept crappy strawberries, accept old fish, and all of that. And anything old or crappy is going to either go bad faster, or we're not going to use it. So we're just losing money every time that happens. So that's so important. Oops. You want to know, how much it should weigh, what it should look like, how to store it, how the packing, any additional data, anything that you need, because let's say some product has dirt and mud. Let's say let's say parsley. Maybe I would say, on the specs, make sure there's no mud or muck or mud on the parsley. If so, send it back, or if so, rinse it off before storage, all of that sort of stuff. So, you need to be very specific on what you have. You're also items, correct amounts to be purchased, avoid waste. That's basic. If you order too much product, well, it's just going to sit there, so you're going to have a lot more waste. And anytime you throw anything in the garbage, you're throwing money away. And when you're a worker, when I say you're a when you don't have what I call skin in the game, right? When it's not your business, your money, or your bonus, or whatever else. If you're just a plain worker, you don't understand how much, if you throw away a cup of salt, that's money that is not going to be captured, and we're just throwing it away, and that makes businesses lose money. So making sure you do not waste product, you don't overbuy, or when you overbuy, things are just going to go bad faster. Or let's say you decide, oh, there's a big sale on all-purpose flour, and you buy 5 more bags than you normally do. Well, it's going to sit there a lot longer, and those bags could sit there, and they could get bugs could get in there. It could get wet. Maybe you don't FIFO, first in first out, it as much, and you're not using it as much, and it's just sitting there, and it goes bad, and the quality goes even worse, and then you're giving your customers an inferior product because it just got old on your shelf, or whatever else. Non-perishable items and perishable items, non-perishable items, still need to be rotated, right? I always put a date on those cans, on the can of, beans, or whatever else, or can of, you name it. You could have can or jelly or jams or any of that sort of stuff. All of that, if you don't rotate it, and if you don't properly maintain it, if it's like you have a bunch of sun coming into your storeroom, you have windows or whatever else, it gets too hot, you need to just make sure you manage that and maintain that storeroom. 2 ways to maintain inventories of non-perishable level, having a let's see, hold on. Hello. You there? Hello?
Hello?
Hello? Y'all there?
Hello?
Can you hear me? Can you hear
Yeah.
me? Oh, okay. All right. I think I lost y'all there for a second. Sorry. Y'all, can you hear me now?
I can.
Okay. All right, cool. All right. Thank you. Sorry. I guess I lost internet there for a second. All right. Do you mind reading this slide for me?
There are 2 ways to maintain inventories of non-perishables at appropriate levels. 1, periodic order method. 2, perpetual inventory method.
Thank you. Am I real choppy right now? It's kind of going like very choppy. I'm seeing a bunch of choppiness. Give me 1 second. Let me try to, I'm going to turn off my camera and see if that helps. Maybe just my internet is really not doing so well. All right, so periodic, thank you. And just let me know if I'm like losing internet, or if there's a problem. Thank you. So do you mind reading this slide real quick?
Periodic order method. A method for ordering food or beverages based on fixed order dates and variable order quantities. The calculations of the amount of each item to order is comparatively simple. Amount required for the upcoming period minus amount presently on hand plus amount wanted on hand at the end of the period to last until the next delivery equals amount to order.
Thank you. So basically, amount previously on hand plus the amount on hand at the end of the period equals basically what the next order needs to be. So that kind of gives you kind of a ballpark figure of how to order something, or you have a you want to have basically an kind of a par level of, you always want to have a certain amount of cans on hand. So you want to keep so you want to, so let's say you want to have 6 cans always. So if you're down, if you have 2 cans or let's say you have 3 cans left on the shelf right before ordering, you need to order 3 more cans to keep that so where it's always at 6, right? So you always want to keep always 6 cans on. So you want to just make sure that you kind of a par level. You always want to keep a certain amount at the end of the schedule, so or end of the month. So you need to make sure you order more for that. Kind of a periodic, kind of a keeping it rotating as it's going along. Ensuring quality that purchased for sure, that makes sure you have really good quality. Provide and it helps you with a lot of control in your storeroom. It helps you with your storage space. It limits the amount of inventory, desired frequency on ordering, usage, because if you have par levels or periodic par levels where it's always going to rotate in and out, it helps you with your desired or with your storage itself, because you can have, this is the shelf for this item, and you can just kind of keep it rotating, and you can always count up and see, okay, oh, I need 5 more, so I'm going to order 5 more because I always want to keep this on hand. Food receiving control. You want to make sure you check it, again, check the temperatures. If it's supposed to be coming in frozen as 0 or below, okay? So if it gets higher than 0, then it is freezing. It's not frozen, it's freezing, and you need to make sure that it is I'm sorry, make sure that everything is properly at the proper temperature. It's again, all of these companies, Cisco, White Swan, any of the food, the fishmongers, any of that, those individuals, they're trying to make money too, right? So if they for example, need to get rid of old fish, they might send out old fish. They might send you old fish. So, you need to make sure that you check and control those. Control your receiving. Establishing a standard for receiving. Do you mind reading these 3 bullets right here?
Yes. Establish standard for receiving. The quantity delivered should be the same as the quantity listed on the order forms and also should be identical as the quantity listed on the invoice or delivery bill. The quality of item delivered should conform to the establishment standard purchase specifications for that item. The prices on the invoice should be the same as those stated on the order form.
Thank you. So like I said earlier this morning, you need that order form. You need whatever that purchaser did ordered by, so where you can make sure it all equals to what you're getting in the standards and the specifics of what you need. You need to verify the quality. You need to verify the price. You need to make sure that because a lot of these sheets, and if you've ever seen a order sheet from or a printout sheet from a Cisco or White Swan or any of those companies, they're just got codes, and then you got the name, and then you got the price, and you want to make sure that everything adds up and it looks the right the right price, the right item, the right amount. You want to make sure you weigh it, make sure you check all the reports, and just check and make sure that everything is proper when you're receiving it. That is one of the main thing that sometimes you might think you got it in because you're getting lots of food delivered, and then you keep looking for an item and it just didn't get delivered, and you overlooked it and you didn't know it wasn't delivered, so you lost that product. So you need to be really aware of what is going on in your establishment, and making sure you check those invoices with what is being delivered. You can't just go, oh, I trust them. Never trust but verify. But you know what, purveyors, anybody that's bringing product in, I don't trust them. I trust myself. I always want to make sure that you check everything. You don't want to ever kind of rubber stamp it or whatever you call it. You want to just make sure that you really keep an eye out on that, and because again, that you're giving them money. So for that product, it's not like a grocery store where you go and you grab it and you know exactly that it's there. Somebody is bringing it to you. You need to make sure you go through it. For example, I do a lot of Instacart right now, because I don't want to go out to grocery stores. And once I get my, vaccine, it's a little different, but, I don't want to do that. Well, last night, I ordered, or when I was ordering food, we were going to do Chinese food this week for us. And I ordered some rice wine vinegar. Well, they brought me white wine vinegar. Well, I didn't want white wine vinegar. I wanted rice wine vinegar. And if I didn't look at that when I was putting it away, I could have easily gotten charged for it. So I went and immediately called them or got on Instacart, said they gave me the wrong thing. They credited my account. But if I didn't, and then I wait next day or the day after, it might be a little bit harder to get a credit. So always when you see something wrong, always make sure that you take care of it right then and there, and don't wait. Establish standards for storage, making sure that things, all the labels are facing the right way. Do you mind reading these 5 principles?
In general, the standard established for storing food should address 5 principal concerns: condition of facilities and equipment, arrangement of food, security of storage areas, location of storage facilities, dating and pricing of stored food.
Yes, thank you. It's getting a little choppy again. I'm going to turn off my camera, hoping that might help my internet. Arranging the food, making sure that the food is properly arranged so everybody can see it. Dating and pricing the foods or dating the foods. you know, any of that sort of stuff. If you have to price it and put it out front, depending on what kind of merch you're selling or whatever else, you know, and all of that, but making sure that things get dated and put away properly. And because a lot of times the delivery person uh, delivers it to you right on a dolly. They drop it off on a dolly, and the boxes are put on the floor. And we do not want, you know, we need to take them off the floor as fast as possible and put them on the shelves, right? We don't want food on the floor. So that is very important. So making sure that you do that is so important. Let's see. Oops. Right. So requisitioning product. Make sure, first of all, requisitioning, you know, procedures and all of that. You know, when you're requisitioning product, you've got to make sure you fill out the forms and who the member is. You know, depending on, has anybody ever worked in a hotel? You know, like hotel places, like bigger places do this. A lot of sometimes smaller restaurants don't do this as much, but you know, you might have to fill out a requisition. Okay, I need a case of chicken. I need a case of eggs. I need 15 pounds of cream cheese. Whatever it is. You know, you might need to requisition it, and you have to fill out a document and you give it to the storeroom or the purchasing people, and they will give that to the specific station or the chef, or give it to that person, just because of they don't want anybody walking into that storeroom. Because if they have something walking in the storeroom, there's a lot more hands, a lot more people in there, and things could go up missing. So you sometimes have to requisition it, sometimes a day ahead of time, the day of, depending on your facility. But I know hotels, they have, because especially if you have different kind of things, because a hotel has a banquet, they have the maybe a few different restaurants in that hotel. So maybe you know, each restaurant, I have to requisition food from the main storeroom. They send it to me, all of that, so they can keep control and a list of what each individual gets, because again, you need to account for everything. But it's usually a form that someone gets. Portions, making sure that portion control is being dealt with when you're portioning on giving menu, like for example, like ingredient, you know, like ingredients or product or quantity, production method, any of that. But portioning, how much you need, 4 ounces, 5 ounces for this, what kind of production method do you need on this, or you know, what kind of quantity are you going to be needing? So those are the things you're going to be asking. You know, standardized recipe, portion size, standardized recipes. I mean, again, control. That's all I've been talking about, is everything we need control of. And it sounds like I'm a freaking broken record, right? I talk about standardizing and controlling everything. The reason why that's so important is because if you're not controlling and you're not standardizing and you're not managing your product that came into your facility and that is going out of your facility, if you don't, you're not going to have a business, plain and simple. The business is going to fail. You know, everything is standardize. You want everything to be written down. You want everything to be exact. Why? Because it's all about the money, right? It's all about the Benjamins, right? So you always want to make sure that everything is controlled, because if not, people are adding too much, they're putting too little, they're not getting the product that is what we want, or our standards that we have for our restaurant. If the standards go down, then our quality of food's going to go down, and then our standard of cleaning a toilet. I mean, I expect clean toilets at a restaurant. I can't fathom a restaurant why you wouldn't want to have a clean bathroom. I will hire, I mean, hell, I would hire a bathroom attendant or whatever before I would have a dirty bathroom, because your customers expect a clean bathroom. They don't want it to smell like a sewer. They don't want it to be disgusting, because then they got to come back to the restaurant and eat. So make sure that those standardizations of cleaning the bathroom, cleaning, even standardizing or making sure that you have some standards in place on what your parking lot should look like. You know, every morning someone should go into your parking lot and pick up the garbage. That's a standard that I would have if I had a facility. You know, that's a standard I wish, you know, and I do when I work in the mornings at the school. When I get to the school, I'll go with the garbage bag and pick up whatever's in the parking lot, because I think it's cheapens you, cheapens the school, cheapens your restaurant, whatever it is, when you have garbage in your driveway or your parking lot, with when your employees or when your customers are driving in. It just already puts a bad taste in your mouth. But standardizing everything and making sure you have something written down or exact, because no matter what, you can't remember. You're not going to remember. I know I can't. I have so many things I have to try to remember over the, in a day's time. You're never going to remember. So making sure that it's all written down, it's standardized, and make sure that everybody understands it. And they have a way to go back and make sure it is exactly what your standards are, because you're only good as your your standards. If your standards are shitty, right, you're going to have a shitty kitchen. You're going to have if you don't have standards, then it's anarchy, and no one knows what they're doing, and they're doing whatever, and that causes big issues. And making sure that you are clear on the weight, the volume, the count, making sure everything is standardized. The customer is going to get 2 slices of pizza, or 6 ounces of tomato sauce, or whatever else. Make it standardized. I cannot stress that enough. Portion control, portion control, portion control. Guys, you cannot, you can't just use your hand. You can't just use some big ass spoon, some random spoon. You need to have, the right spoon, the right size of everything, because if you costed it out for 2 ounces of sauce, and someone grabs a 4-ounce ladle and says, "Oh, I can figure out 2 ounces out of that 4 ounce," and they give a little extra here or there, that's I'm gonna run out of my sauce faster, right? And I'm gonna question why I'm running out of that sauce, and it's gonna cost me more because we got to make more sauce, or I've got to stop selling that one dish and say, it's 86 or whatever else, and we can't sell it because of someone just didn't use the right ladle. And that is so important, and making sure that you calculate the portion cost, properly, and that always helps with the standardized recipe. And so what, and we had already kind of talked a little bit about standardized, or about EP and AP, edible portion versus as purchase portion. And I even kind of showed you this book, the Book of Yields. That is a great book if you want to look at it. If you're on Amazon Prime member, I think maybe you can download it. I don't know. I'll look and see. It might be a digital copy if you're an Amazon Prime member, I think. But that helps with the yields. But edible portion, again, is everything that you can. So as purchase is what you bought, like the carrot or let's say the potato with the whole potato. You bought a whole potato. An edible portion would be after I peeled the potato, and the weight is different and the cost is different because I took the peel off. Percent yield, that kind of gives you how much yield you get, how much loss you got. So you would figure out the percent yield. If you lost an ounce of the weight of that potato from that the skins, right? So you needed to so you take the ounce off. So you need to add an ounce, figure out how much that potato cost per ounce. Let's say, it cost a penny an ounce. So that means if that potato cost me 5 cents, I lost 1 ounce. And let's say that one, it cost a penny. So really that potato cost me 6 cents instead of, 5 cents, right? Because I threw away 1 ounce that cost me a penny. So I need to add that penny cost to my waste. So really that potato cost me 6 cents instead of 5 cents type of deal. So making sure that you understand that loss when you are cooking. If that steak weighed a pound and before it's cooked, and then it's a half pound after it's cooked, you lost a half pound, right? So and let's say that pound of meat, or that that amount was $5, that you lost, you need to add that $5 back to that cost of the steak, right? Because if not, it just, that moisture evaporated, right? So you've got to still, you paid for that extra ounce that evaporated, or that extra pound that evaporated, or half pound. So you need to make sure you cover that cost. On that note, that is it. Now, what I need for the rest of your project, what I'm going to ask you, let me go back to my standardized recipe. I'm going to just use this one, whoever this one is. So I've got this standardized recipe right here. All right, so these are the standardized recipes. So what I want is, you're going to have, you need to come up with, you've got your 20 items that you kind of picked out from your restaurant, right? So you've got 20 items of that I asked you to pick out that you would want to sell. You need to narrow down that 20 items to now 10 items. And I want you to now take those, you have 20 items. I want you to narrow it down to 10 items. And I want you to then create a standardized recipe for those 10 items. And I want those 10 items to be on the same spreadsheet as your tartar sauce and your marinara. Does everybody understand that? So I need you to, you've got those 20 items that you picked and you wrote down. So what I need you to do is I need you to, on those 20 items, I need you to narrow it down to 10 items, okay? And then those 10 items, I want you to write a standardized recipe for all those 10 items. Does everybody understand that?
Heard, Chef.
And I want it
Heard,
to be
Chef.
on, I want it to be on the same spreadsheet with your marinara and your tartar sauce. Okay, I want it on the same spreadsheet, make it easy for me to see. So I want that done by, what is this, week 4? Is this week 4 right now?
Yes.
Chef.
Okay, so so once I get that, so I want that by Friday. I want all your 10 recipes filled out by Friday. Okay. And I want them standard. I want it to look standardized. You might not have a picture. If you want to Google a picture or whatever else of it, that is totally fine. And put a picture up there. I would like that, you know, or you know, whatever you, or if you have a picture that you've already cooked of that item, you can have that on there. But that is what I want. And then we're, the next 2 things, part of your project is the costing out. We need to cost out those recipes. And that will be week 5. We will cost them out on week 5 and cost it out, and you will be making your menu. Now, I will show you how to cost out the recipes this week. So if you want to get ahead and start costing out your recipes, you can, starting this week, after I show you kind of how to do that. And then you have to make a menu. And the menu that there is it's called must-have menus. I thought I had it on my page. Oh yeah, right here. Hold on, let me. Oh, I'm still sharing. Okay, so I'm gonna. There's a website called Must Have Menus. Right here, if you create a login or if you create an account, you can create a menu, and this could be the menu that you will be turning into me. So this is a good menu, kind of template form, a good template right here for menus. So must have menus. The only thing I would say is if you create a menu, if you don't log in and create a menu, it's not going to save it. So if you, I would say, create a login and so where it'll be saved for you. Because I might need you to adjust the menu after you make it, because when I start looking at menus. But must have menu is a great source for that. Other than that, any questions, problems, concerns? No? All right. Well, y'all have a wonderful day. I will see y'all tomorrow.
You too, Chef.
Chef.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.